All right, got it.
Got it. We are live on Facebook. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and potential new Toastmasters. Welcome to Wake Up with Toastmasters. My name is Ken Richardson. I am your Club Growth Director for District 115. And with me today, our co-host, Phyllis Trivy, Distinguished Toastmaster and past District Director. Good morning, Phyllis. How are you doing?
Good morning, Ken. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good to see you. And our guest today is Craig Peterson. Craig is the president of Silver Tongue Toastmasters in Mesquite, Nevada. He's also part of the Rotary and Toastmasters partnership. So welcome, Craig. How are you today?
Unbelievable.
That's a good answer. I'm so glad to hear that. So tell me, Craig, to get us going here, how long have you been in Toastmasters?
Approximately 2 years.
About 2 years. And you are the president of the Silver Tongue Toastmasters in Mesquite. What attracted you to Toastmasters?
A number of things. I've been familiar with Toastmasters for a number of years. In my career, exposed to it. Attended a couple of meetings along the way, but just didn't really feel like I'd ever really want to be part of it. I'm a Rotarian, as you can see in the background. I have been for close to 20 years. About 2.5 years ago, Rotary International, Toastmasters International aligned with each other, married, kind of, or dating, sort of. That's what it feels like, actually. Anyway, I was at what we call a president's advance meeting. I just finished a term as president of the Mesquite Sunrise Rotary Club here. Well, the prior year we had a training called President's Advance, and while I was there, it was announced or came to my awareness that we were part of Toastmasters now. And I go, okay, I think I'll look into that when I get home. And I did. And we had this little tiny Toastmasters club in Mesquite. Now, I've lived in Mesquite, Nevada for just about 4 years. I moved from Northern California by Napa, San Francisco area. We built a home here. Anyway, so I looked into Toastmasters, and it was just this tiny little club. I mean, we have 8 members. It's a small little club. And the average age of the membership is well into their late 70s.
Oh my, okay.
Okay. Anybody that knows much about Mesquite, or a little bit about Mesquite, we have 2 things. We have retired people and we have golf courses. This is Mesquite.
Those 2 things go together, right?
They go together. A lot of golf carts running around town here. Anyway, I was looking at Toastmasters and I think I'll go visit that. And maybe this might make some sense to help our club grow. Now, all this was happening just before the COVID experience we've all had. Anyway, I got involved. First few months in Toastmasters, I almost quit.
Oh, why?
I mean, I really, really did. I said, what the heck? I get up and talk in front of people already anyway. This is not a big deal. I'm self-employed. I have a group of associates and members. I'm an area director for a company called Legal Shield. I've been with them for 21 years. So why do I need this? And I just kind of, and all these old people, forgive me, I'm old, I'm 70, but nonetheless, they were older than me. Somehow it just started to click though, towards the end of that first few months. I went to pay the renewal and I almost did. And I sort of said, nah, I don't think I'll quit yet. I'm not really a quitter on anything. So I just started playing along a little bit more. I found I was getting better, and especially as we came into the time of COVID, I think I became more interested in Toastmasters of all things last year, a year and a half ago, when this pandemic started and we had to start reverting to Zoom meetings. And there's a reason for that. On a personal level, I communicated already often on video conferencing a lot of trainings and many things. And I'm a believer. I mean, I think it's a great way to communicate. But I wasn't really all that good at it. I certainly didn't know. I don't think a lot of people were very good at virtual meetings. And it just seemed like a really good medium. And Toastmasters, I thought, I can learn a little bit here. Maybe I could take some of the skills that I have, my comfort level in technology, which I have, and the visual, and what I was already doing in my legal show business, and then with Rotary and in Toastmasters, and it just sort of all fit. I said, I think I'll stick around and learn and maybe try to teach a little bit. And these people in my club are all frustrated anyway, so I'll teach them how to use Zoom. Which I did.
I'm so glad to hear you describe your journey that way, because what I found is somewhat similar. People who stick with it, you have that aha moment where you say, oh, this really is helping me in my public speaking or in my leadership skills. Because I think all too often we have people who start Toastmasters and they don't get to that point. And I think one of the challenges for us as experienced members, I've been in Toastmasters 14 years rather, excuse me, and Phyllis has been in for 24 years, Phyllis, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we need to improve upon is welcoming new members and mentoring them so that they do truly explore what's available in Toastmasters and maybe get to that aha moment before they give up and drop out. So I'm glad to hear you say that. Do you know how long the club has been there in Mesquite? Because you were previously part of District 15.
We were chartered in 2001.
Oh, okay, very good.
Club.
And you were part of District 15 now. So all of your meetings, I think you're saying, were in Salt Lake. Is that correct?
No, the district meetings would have all been in Salt Lake.
Uh-huh.
Well, they were originally part of District 33 because I remember the time they voted to go with the other district because of the amount of travel time. And at that time, Salt Lake was closer than our visiting California for the people.
But you talked about, I like Phyllis, and I want you to continue to explore some of that history when we were part of District 33 and the folks in Mesquite went through that and describe and talk about the fact that we were kind of all over the place and it was actually less convenient for the folks in Mesquite.
At the time, we had all the various divisions in District 33, and each one of our conferences, whether they be spring or fall, were in one of those districts. So it might have been close enough for the people in Mesquite to come to Las Vegas, but it certainly was not close when we had to go to Bakersfield or Ventura County or other places. And that's why they petitioned, I believe, to International to move to a new district. And of course, we had to vote for that to allow them to leave our district to go somewhere else. So I'm assuming that District 15 then voted to accept them into their district. But it is hard to make all of those calls and service the people if they can't come to any meetings. Now we're on Zoom, doesn't seem to matter where you're at, we can get to you. But then it was all travel. So yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that we have you guys back with us. Mesquite, I go up through Mesquite, St. George, and Cedar City frequently because I love going to the outdoor theater in St. George and to the Shakespeare Theater in Cedar City. So I'm sort of a frequent flyer in that neck of the woods. And hopefully, if we do soon go back maybe next year to having an in-person meeting, it will be a lot more convenient for you to drive to Las Vegas than it is.
I'll be in Vegas tomorrow. I have clients in Vegas. Vegas is like next door.
Oh, okay, good. So
I moved from the Bay Area. It's like
so you have frequent visits to Las Vegas now.
All the time.
Excellent. Well, tell me now, when does your club meet? You told me you're meeting on Zoom. How often are they meeting?
Well, typically throughout the year, we meet every Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock, either live or in Zoom. At this time, we've been Zoomed for quite some time. In the summer, here in Mesquite, there's two things that happen. The golf courses periodically close down for reseeding about this time of year, and people leave to go back to wherever they came from. We lose probably 20% of our population are easily snowbirds.
Wow.
And then as summer is hot, people just go away. So it's been kind of traditional, and I had to get some used on a personal level. I had to get used to that the first couple of years that people leave. I mean, I don't care. It's hot. I go outside. Who cares? But people actually leave because it's too hot. And I hadn't lived in a place where people just get up and go. you know? And so I've adapted. So about late July, so August and September in particular, we wind down the club meetings to 1 or 2 a month. Typically, had it not been this type of year with COVID, we probably would have 2 live meetings a month. With people traveling, we got some people that have homes in other areas. We elected to, through September, we would have 1 meeting a month, and it would be a Zoom meeting, and then begin again in October. If we felt safe to have a live meeting, we will. With the uptake of this Delta variant, we probably will be Zoom.
Gotcha.
We had hoped to, back when we were making that decision, it looked like things were getting better, and now we have this spike. And as long as I'm in charge, not in charge, but as long as I'm leading this club, we're going to be safe.
Yeah.
We're going to err on safety.
I think that's wise. Phyllis, why don't you go ahead and have some questions for it?
Well, I've never heard of a certain schedule. Evidently, we've not had that in District or District 115. Is that typical in your area?
It is. It is for a number. It's typical for not just service clubs, but for a number of businesses as well. We have some businesses that actually close down the whole. We got a couple of restaurants that are quite nice. They're basically closed until the end of September. We have dry cleaner that closes down to 3 days a week.
Wow.
A year. Service clubs run limited meetings. Remember, we're a predominantly retirement community. People can leave. They don't have a job they have to go to. They go home and see family. So it's just been it's apparently a custom of the community. I just, as Mesquite has grown, there's less and less of that, but it's still pretty strong here. So
I hear about Mesquite is the gambling. Evidently, it is not a gambling mecca.
No, we have 3 major, pretty good sized casinos. I don't happen to know how to gamble. I just don't. I don't know. I'm so bad I can't play fish.
Gotcha.
And that didn't draw me to Mesquite. I like desert living. I had an experience living in St. George years ago, and I liked the region. And like you, in theater, I love theater. Tuacahn is certainly my favorite. The Smith Center in Las Vegas, we're season ticket holders there. So being here in Mesquite's kind of neat. It's easy to get to all of those.
I've been to Tuacahn and enjoyed it very much. Does that mean that there are actors in your family?
No, there's no actors in my family. Only me.
No, just supporters.
Not my wife and I like theater. We're both pretty independent with each other. My family, I'm kind of distant from my family. I didn't fit. But they just don't really fit in my life. I don't know how to say that. I love them all. And my wife's family all lives in Northern California up by Santa Rosa. And on the most part, that's where she was born. And so she's close to her family. But we live here and have our life together, Marietta, my wife is a nurse. She works for Mesa View Home Health Care here. So she travels out to people's homes on a regular basis when they're discharged from hospitals and such. And that's what she does. And then I run my company from here. And I'm also an author, and I write. I'm doing a book signing in September here.
Oh,
Wow.
well, tell us about that.
I'm really looking forward to it.
What kind of books do you write?
Well, the one I'm going to sign for was a personal experience book. I'm pretty open about things, so I hope that's okay on this Facebook, but I'll share real quickly. 19 and a half years ago, I used to drink a lot. I used to drink scotch, lots of scotch, too much scotch. I walked into the world of Alcoholics Anonymous almost 20 years ago. I wrote a book regarding that, the experience of that first year and the years that followed. A lot changed in my life during that period. The title is Don't Look Back, You're Not Going That Way. And I give it away a lot to people that are starting out or maybe been around for a while. And I get to tell stories out of it because I have some great stories. They weren't so great then, but they're great now. And so this coming month, there's a book signing for authors, and I'm going to be presenting that book at the Eureka on September 18th and doing my whole thing, you know. And I produce a blog called followcraig.com.
Can you say that again, please?
Followcraig.com.
Okay.
And I posted some new stuff now. I haven't posted for a while, but it's just kind of perspectives and what happens in life and such as I see it.
I want to mention, Craig, that we just recently chartered a brand new club, and it's called Authors and Aspiring Authors. And it's a specialty club that meets on Friday. I'll send you a link, and
that would be wonderful.
let the president know. Yeah, because this is a group of Toastmasters, all of whom either have published a book or two or are working on publishing. So their whole meeting is centered around those kinds of topics. They have some very, very creative. I know I sat in on one where they'll give you the first and last sentence, and then you have to fill in the story.
Oh, I'd be good at that. I love that.
So it's pretty interesting.
Steroids. I like that. My favorite, by the way.
Okay, well, I'm going to send you.
My favorite part of meetings in Toastmasters is table topics.
Me too.
my absolute favorite complete. You know, you asked me earlier about experience in Toastmasters and what brought me kind of to life in Toastmasters. I should go back in time as a kid. I was in high school and I had a teacher, an English teacher, and I remember I had to get up in front of a group once and talk. She said, Craig, it's time to get up and give your report, whatever. I stood in front of the room and tears were coming down my eyes. I ran out of the room to the boys' room and cried. I was so scared.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's a fact. And to think, fast forward a lot of years, and now for some time, you know, I run businesses, held sales meetings, get up in front of people, talk, I write, I do all kinds of things based on the fact that I had the 4 years of Mrs. Brubaker in high school teaching me how. And I just can't hardly believe that I'm here sitting like talking to you based on the introvert. I'm really an extrovert in these arenas, but on a personal level, I kind of like being quiet and read. But it's Toastmasters sort of brought all those memories up, you know, and I kind of like it. And I'm an odd fellow, you know. I'm one of those. I kind of encourage others to do this crazy odd stuff. This has nothing to do with Toastmasters, but in a way it does. And it's about trying new things. My wife always knew I wanted to have a piano. Now, I never played a piano. I never owned one. My father was great at playing piano, but I didn't. So this last year during COVID, I went out and bought a baby grand piano, put it in the house, didn't know how to play it. And for almost a year, I've been practicing and learning just because I always wanted to. And I just know I can, and I'm getting better. But there's no harm in doing those things. Just saying, you know what? I want one. Someday I might do it. Maybe I will. Oh, and look back at it. I wish I would have. No, just forget the damn thing and learn it. Well, that's the way I feel about Toastmasters. If you always thought you should be able to get up and speak in front of a group or at your church or at work or something like that, and you want to hold back, but inside you're going, but I really want to, and just get involved in Toastmasters or something like it, and get up and do it. You'll learn, and people will tell you where you go make mistakes, and that helps you learn. And it becomes comfortable. It becomes fun, because you have two things happening. One is something you chose to do to yourself. Your mom and dad didn't tell you to do it. Your wife, your husband, your brother didn't tell you to do it, probably told you not to. And you went and did it. And you stand up and they go, God, I wish I could do that. Well, you could have too, but you didn't have the guts. And you get up. And Toastmasters helps develop that inside of you. Toastmasters is one of those organizations that helps develop that kind of skill, and helps bring it out of a person if they want to. It gives them a forum where you have friends around you and support and constructive criticism and growth opportunities to become better. And I know I got sort of off maybe your questions, but I just want to tell you what I think about Toastmasters. I think it's a great group. I think that more people ought to look at it. It's not for everybody. However, if you got that inkling inside that you want to get better at something, this is a really great way to do it. And it don't even cost anything. It's like dirt cheap. It's really a wonderful experience, along with being involved in some kind of service organization in your church, helping others, doing something bigger than yourself, along with other people. It's a wonderful experience. It helps you sleep at night. You know.
I think that's one of the best endorsements I've heard in a while, Craig. So I really appreciate you sharing with us and with our audience your Toastmasters journey, your experience. I can recall, I have to tell a real quick story here about a member who joined my Toastmasters club, and he was so nervous about public speaking, he couldn't even finish his icebreaker. He got about a minute and a half into it and just freaked out and sat down. And now he does radio commercials. So it's pretty, I appreciate your sharing what the benefits have been to you. And I think you're right. So Phyllis, you have any questions here?
Well, I do remember my first time that I had to lead a meeting while I was working. I prepared all this material for my boss, explained it all to him, and we went into the meeting, and he took a side seat, and he said, here, sit here at the head of the table, you'll do this meeting. So he didn't give me enough time to panic and fall apart. And, pushing me into it every month, you learn. And that's the thing about Toastmasters, you learn at your own pace, but they're always helpful, always willing to help you do something more. And now with our new educational program, the educational training is beyond belief. There are such great programs. Were you a blogger before you came into Toastmasters?
Yes, I've actually began posting my blog about 5 years ago, 4 years ago, somewhere in that range. I think I'd like to say something else too. As I look at the screen here, and we touched on Rotary and Toastmasters both together. And this is probably directed at Rotary for just a second, and maybe other people that are belong to service organizations that are in leadership roles or aspire to be. Toastmasters is a great organization in many ways, but one of the things it does, it makes you a better leader. It helps develop you better. When I first took over as president, when I first became president of our club a year and a half ago in Rotary, I was a little unsure of being a club president, how to organize meetings, how to have an agenda, how to keep people engaged, how to get them to listen to me, especially, and stay connected, especially over Zoom, and not look at their watch and turn me off, things of that nature. Toastmasters was great for that. But then for Rotarians, this is a great leadership training for them. Toastmasters, on the other hand, one of the reasons to look at Rotary is Toastmasters causes you to grow inside. It causes us to become aspirational to be leaders. At some point, you can only be a distinguished Toastmaster so many times. And there's more. There's always something more that you can do. And if you're a good leader and you can work with volunteer organizations and help, looking at Rotary is predominantly a service organization. They're a philanthropic service organization based all over the world with 1.5 million members that give and do projects internationally and locally within their communities. And they need help. They want to grow too, and they do good works. And good leaders are needed. They come from an organization like Toastmasters. It's a great organization to build leadership. And for Rotarians, it's a great opportunity to become better leaders. So Toastmasters does have a mission, in a sense, of developing leadership skills for people that want to gain more and help more and do more. Rotary is an outlet for those aspirations to become visual, to become real, to become alive.
So it sounds like it's a good partnership when it works.
It's a really good partnership, and I don't think we spend enough time talking about it. I don't think we spend enough time talking with each other's clubs, doing socially together, and independently, and then just Rotary clubs raising their hands saying, "Hey, let's go get some Toastmasters to help out with that event," or vice versa. Let's get a Toastmaster, Rotarian to come over and have coffee with us and just listen in on one of our meetings.
Well, I think that's something we'll have to bring you back for a future meeting, and we'll focus on discussing that, because I think you're right. There's an opportunity here. Obviously, both the International Rotary headquarters and Toastmasters International feel that there's some synergy. And I think that's maybe something we need to explore. But we are about out of time here. So I want to say thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it. It's just great to have you back in your club and the clubs in Cedar City and St. George back as part of District 115. And I do look forward to, when you guys are meeting in person, I'm going to come up and visit, because I like to travel to Mesquite, St. George, Cedar City. So I'm going to do that. A couple of announcements. I do want to remind folks that the International Convention is going on now. It's virtual. You can still register because it's going to be going on all week. Yesterday was the first day, and many of the educational programs are free. If you want to see the whole shebang, so to speak, it's like $25 and you get unlimited access. And the good thing about it, because it is virtual, don't panic if you missed an educational that you were interested in, because it's on demand. You can select on demand. As for what's happening in District 115, I want to remind you that Wake Up with Toastmasters is on air 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. On Monday and Friday, our host, is our Program Quality Director, Gene Williams. On Wednesdays, it's our Public Relations Manager, Jennifer Smith. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's myself and Phyllis Tribby. We are your host. The other thing I want to make you aware of is on the second Saturday of every month, we have free educational programs. These are hour long. There are 2 hours total from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Educational programs on a variety of things. We always have an introduction to pathways. We have a new member orientation program. And then we have a variety of different programs, such as, how to get your club on Meetup, or how to run a Zoom meeting. So we have a lot of different things that I think are designed to appeal to Toastmasters. It's totally free, and it's the second Saturday of every month at 6 p.m. So and then game night, we have a game night that is the last Saturday of the month at 6 p.m. and that's also online. If you would like any additional information on these or anything else that's going on in District 115, send me an email. My email is d115cgd@gmail.com. Send me an email and I will make sure that you get on the list and that you are up to date on everything. Phyllis, any final remarks?
I want to put a plug in for Club Coach. Any club that has less than 12 members can request a club coach to help you gain membership and fill the bill till you can become a distinguished club. But to help these clubs, we need club coaches. So if you're a DTM or you'd like to do some coaching, Coaching is good. Once you earn the credit, you got the credit. So it's not like you have to wait until you have your 2 paths to get to be a distinguished Toastmaster. You can do club coach now. So please let Ken know or email me. We'll get you some training and we'll find you a club to coach. And at this particular year, if that club gains up to 20 members, you will receive your credit for being a district officer. What more could you want than that? That is the time to volunteer. Help your district by being a club coach. Contact
Absolutely.
him and he'll help.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up, Phyllis. It's a great opportunity to meet some of the requirements for your distinguished Toastmaster. Well, we're out of time. Again, I want to thank you, Craig. I want to thank you, Phyllis, and let our audience know we will see you. We'll be back here on Thursday, and we'll see you at meetings, hopefully. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, Craig.